Ladies and gentlemen, today is Monday, July 22, 2024. This is the Voice of Turkey's English language transmission broadcasting from Ankara in a 16-meter band between 1230 1330 UTC and 1762 kHz to Europe. You can listen to us over the Turksat 3A and 4A satellites and on the internet at www.trtdinle.com through Radio's link and under the VOT Radio's expandable section. Our email address is englishdesk@trt.net.tr. Following the news and review of the Turkish press, the Voice of Turkey will present our feature programs and some beautiful Turkish music. This is TRT, Voice of Turkey News in English. Before we begin, we have an announcement for you that we want to inform our listeners that due to maintenance and repair works to be carried out at the shortwave transmission stations, our broadcast will not be available on shortwave between 1000 and 1600 hours on July 23, 2024, Tuesday. However, you can listen to our broadcasts during these hours via satellite, internet, and our TRT Listen application. And now the news. Democrats in the U.S. presidential race to replace Biden as Kamala Harris emerges leading contender. The party promises a transparent and orderly process to identify Biden's successor. Democrats were in uncharted territory as they race against the clock to find a new standard barrier after President Joe Biden's stunning late exit from the 2024 race for the White House. Vice President Kamala Harris was in pole position as the party promised a transparent and orderly process to replace the 81-year-old Biden, who bowed on Sunday to Democratic concerns over his age and capacity to beat Republican Donald Trump in November. The announcement set off a scramble to confirm a new candidate at the Democratic Convention in Chicago on August 19 and perhaps weeks sooner. Democratic lawmakers and party elders, including at least a third of U.S. senators, some key governors, and Bill and Hillary Clinton have rallied behind Harris, who crucially also received Biden's swift endorsement. However, many big names from House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and his influential predecessor Nancy Pelosi to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and former President Barack Obama were initially holding back. We will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead, Obama said in a statement in the wake of Biden's announcement. But I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges. Will Kamala Harris make history as the first black female endorsed by Joe Biden for the 2024 presidential election? Harris, a black and South Asian and the only woman vice president in U.S. history, appeared to have an immediate rivals, and any challenger may have a very small window to pitch an alternative path forward. Potential convention delegates were being told to expect a vote on August 1 to put Harris's name formally atop the ticket. More than 2 weeks before the gathering, CBC reported calls for an open convention in Chicago have been mooted so far, with potential challengers such as popular California Governor Gavin Newsom backing Harris. The Democratic ticket has been in disarray since Biden's dismal debate performance in June, with Republicans coalescing around Trump after the attempt on his life At a rally in Pennsylvania 8 days ago, Biden spent more than 3 weeks resisting calls to step down, but then dropped his bombshell as he recovered from COVID at his Delaware Beach house.
The news continues on the English language broadcast of the Voice of Turkey.
European Union foreign ministers gathered in Brussels, the capital of Belgium, to discuss the current situation in Ukraine and the Middle East. The meeting, chaired by EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Joseph Borrell, included participation from foreign ministers of member states, with Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba joining via video conference to provide updates on the ongoing conflict with Russia since February 2022. Ministers also addressed the situation in the Middle East in light of recent developments. Prior to the meeting, Borrell briefed the press, highlighting that 70% of Ukraine's electricity production capacity has been affected, which he emphasized would worsen civilian life during the upcoming winter season. Borrell said, "We need more air defense and electricity production capacity. These are 2 calls we need to make to member states. Of course, we will also discuss other issues concerning Ukraine." The meeting also covered Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban's recent visits to Ukraine, subsequent talks with Russia undertaken during Hungary's presidency of the EU, with member states evaluating these developments. Borrell noted Hungary's accusations against the EU in the United Nations Security Council of being an alliance that wants war, calling such claims unacceptable. He emphasized the EU supports Ukraine and is willing to end this war based on the UN Charter. The EU is not striving for the continuation of the conflict. It stands for defending Ukraine in the face of aggression, not as a party to the war. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has expressed deep concern over Israel's attack in Yemen. In a statement on the UN's website, Antonio Guterres evaluated the attack by Israel on the port city of Hudaydah in Yemen, which resulted in the death of 6 people and left more than 80 others injured, calling for maximum restraint from all parties involved. Guterres noted that Israel has taken responsibility for the attack on July 20, which damaged the electricity infrastructure and caused a large fire at the refinery, expressing deep concern over Israel's attack in Yemen. The UN chief emphasized that such actions increase the risk of tension in the region. Meanwhile, Turkey on Sunday slammed Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz's dirty propaganda against President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The Israeli Foreign Minister is trying to hide Israel's crime against the Palestinians behind a series of lies, slander and disrespect. A foreign ministry statement said Israel's dirty propaganda targeting Turkey and President Erdogan and psychological operation attempts will not bear fruit, the ministry said. It also added that members of the Benjamin Netanyahu government responsible for the deaths of nearly 40,000 Palestinians in Gaza will be tried in international courts and held accountable. The ministry reiterated Ankara's commitment to defending Palestinian rights and advocating for peace and justice. Katz had posted a slanderous and insulting post on social media targeting Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Cybersecurity company CrowdStrike said that a significant number of the devices affected by Friday's outages have returned to regular operations. The company, whose faulty security update caused computers running the Microsoft Windows operating system to crash on Friday, stated in a social media post that they remain focused on getting all systems back up and running. Microsoft estimates that 8.5 million computers worldwide were affected by what is described as one of the largest computer outages. However, businesses, banks, hospitals, airlines were the hardest hit by the outage and are still struggling to get their computer systems fully operational. A CrowdStrike statement said, "We understand the profound impact this has had on everyone. We know our customers, partners, and their IT teams are working tirelessly, and we are profoundly grateful. We apologize for the disruption this has created." However, the company didn't specify how many devices are still affected by the outage. Aviation tracking platform FlightAware reported that more than 80,000 flights were cancelled in the United States and globally on Sunday due to the outages.
The news continues on the English language broadcast of the Voice of Turkey.
Turkey's Ministry of Culture and Tourism announced that 19 artifacts which were returned from England, Italy, and the United States of America became part of Turkey's cultural heritage once again. A statement made from the ministry said that the artifacts returned significantly contribute to Turkey's rich historical and cultural heritage. The number of artifacts returned to Turkey since 2002 has reached 12,139. Thanks to work carried out by the ministry in cooperation with other countries, Turkey regained its historical and cultural assets, and 19 precious artifacts were returned to Turkey from the United Kingdom, Italy, and the United States this year. One of the works returned to the country was Mustafa Dede's Quran, the Holy Quran, which was put up for sale in England in 2017 and written by Mustafa Dede, was smuggled out of the country illegally and taken back to Turkey. This work, which was in Sultan Abdülhamit II's collection, is now preserved in the Turkish and Islamic Arts Museum in Istanbul. The bronze emperor statue originating from the ancient city of Lubin was put up for sale by Christie's auction house in New York back in 2011. The owner of the statue was contacted and evidence to the origins of the artifact was presented. The collector, who became aware of the origin of the statue, showed goodwill and accepted that the statue belonged to Turkey. Oil prices decreased on Monday over demand uncertainties in the U.S. and China, the world's largest oil consumers. The international benchmark Brent crude traded at $82.4 per barrel at 12:14 a.m. local time. The American benchmark West Texas Intermediate traded at $78.4 per barrel at the same time. The U.S. Federal Reserve will review its policy on July 30 to 31, while investors expect the bank to keep rates unchanged. They will also look for further evidence that a rate cut will happen at the September meeting. Experts believe that keeping interest rates at high levels for a sustained period may pose risks to the oil demand outlook, while reducing policy interest rates soon will support economic activity in the country, resulting in higher oil demand. U.S. President Joe Biden on Sunday dropped out of the race for re-election and backed Vice President Kamala Harris for the position. The announcement had little effect on the oil markets. And sports, 102 athletes in 18 sports branch will represent Turkey at the 2024 Summer Olympics to be held in French capital Paris through July 26 to August 11. Turkish athletes will compete in archery, athletics, badminton, boxing, cycling, fencing, gymnastics, judo, modern pentathlon, rowing, sailing, shooting, swimming, table tennis, taekwondo, volleyball, weightlifting and wrestling. The Turkish Olympic team consists of 54 women and 48 male athletes. This marks the second time that the number of female athletes has exceeded that of male athletes in the Turkish history, with the first time happening during the London 2012 Summer Olympics. In team sports, the Turkish women's volleyball team will be the only team to compete for Turkey in the Games. Turkish women's volleyball team, affectionately known as the Sultans of the Net, will participate in the Olympic Games for the second time in a row and for the third time overall in the country's history. They also competed in 2012 London and 2020 Tokyo Olympics. And that was the news and sports brought to you by the Voice of Turkey.